So it's 2 years tomorrow when our Reverend Master Saidō passed on. And herein lies a little detail. The last time I spoke to him on the telephone, I was in the Black Forest in Germany, and I was trying every way to say, when you die, or you're dying, or whatever. And he said, he made it very clear, he didn't want words like passing on, moving on, all the words that we use to not say that somebody is dying. And he said, I'm dying, Mugō. I said, okay, yeah, I know, you're dying. I've got that word. And he wasn't pussyfooting around. That in fact, that was the case. And I was going to be coming back, which I did. I came back actually the day before he died. What I thought I'd talk about is this word passing on. It means movement. It means change from where you are to what's up in the future. It implies or requires letting go of what is now in order to step out into the unknowing, you might say, of what's up ahead. So, thank you, Reverend Saidō, for pointing out that he didn't want euphemisms, whatever that word is. How do you say that? Euphemisms. I find I can't put my lips around that. It sounds bold and final, and indeed, Reverend Saidō is dead. I even then wanted to say has passed on, is no longer here, anything but that word. So, talking in the kitchen to Duncan this morning, we were talking about impermanence, and it reminded me of a time when I was Reverend Master Dew's chaplain, helper, in the last 3 years of her life. And every summer we would go to the Oregon coast where there were no thunderstorms during the summer, which is why we went there. About 6 months of the year we would go away from Shasta and the thunderstorms and the lightning. And one morning it was pretty tough and intense, and the requirement to accept and let go. And Reverend Master Mayan, now the abbot at Shasta, was there, hanging out the laundry in the brilliant sunshine. Gosh, the sunshine was so gorgeous there. And so she was hanging out laundry, and I was sitting on the ground, leaning against the garage wall, enjoying the sunshine. And out of my mouth came, Reverend Master Mayan, if there wasn't letting go, life would be hell. I understand that she says this to her disciples now, just to remind them that if you don't let go, life would be hell. If there wasn't the possibility of letting go, life would be hell. Zipping forward to Edmonton, where I was a prior, and there was a woman who was having very great difficulty letting go of her man friend. And I said, well, are you willing to let go? And she said, no. I said, this was on the telephone. Are you willing to let go? And she said, no. So I went on for quite some time about the willingness until, yeah, I'm willing, Mugō. Yeah, I'm willing to let go. And there is a question. Well, how do you do that? I've always kind of, it always feels like an accusation to me. Well, you should let go, don't hang on. Well, let's all be realistic. It's not that easy to accept change, which is really what it is. It's accepting that all things change, that anicca, one of the basic teachings of our tradition, is changeableness, basic tenet. Actually, I want to talk about passing on, because that's it's not completely unrelated to what I've been talking about letting go. In the monastic tradition, religious items are passed on to us at the time of ordination. There's the alms bowl that actually is upside down, and Reverend Saidō's picture is on top. Can I get, who's agile? Carol, would you mind coming and just picking off Reverend Saidō's picture and giving me the begging bowl, the alms bowl? There's nothing to catch you on fire, don't worry. Yeah, so if you just put his picture on the altar somewhere, wherever. Give me the bowl. And Carol and I are very, very good at passing things on to each other, aren't we?
I've got a few.
Yeah. We truly pass it on because we connect with each other. Thank you.
Yeah, we do.
Good choice there. So this is passed on at ordination, along with some other things. If any of you have, and what this would be now is what Reverend Master Saidō would then pass on to his disciple, had he had one. So it's now on our founder's shrine, should somebody wander in wishing to be a monk, and I can pass it on his behalf. I'm not expecting visitors, but in that way, but it's always good to keep one's begging bowl open to whatever falls in. Those of you who've received, officially become Buddhists and received the precepts, you will have been given a certificate which is passed on from the person doing the ceremony, and it's not only symbolic but actually is a list of how the teaching has all been passed on from master to disciple to the present person, who's named new ancestor. Is it? I can't remember. I think it's new ancestor and then your name. So in that way, the teaching of Shakyamuni Buddha, and before Shakyamuni Buddha, the 7 Buddhas, and before that there is an empty circle at the top of that, which means that the teaching comes from something bigger, wider, broader than any human being, and we call that the unborn, undying, uncreated, unchanging. Hear that? So we are constantly having things passed on, and that we are receiving. And in receiving, we're letting go at the same time. I've got some examples, other examples that are the passing on. The symbolic things that we have that connect us with the past, that we, maybe it's some memorabilia or something like that you have, that perhaps you have something of Reverend Saidō's that is sitting on a shelf somewhere. I see some nods around, yeah. And that can be hung on sentimentally, which is, or however it can be a revisiting of him in in an object that reminds you of him. I've a few of those actually. And I think as humans, we do appreciate these items of remembrance. It's quite a common thing. Well, in Tibetan Buddhism, there's the choosing of the new Rinpoche or leader, where they go and see a child and to see if they can recognize and pick out something that was used by the previous dead Rinpoche. And this indicates that they can pick out something that in a previous existence they were using, often rosary or bowl or something like that. You all come here to pay respects, to reconnect, pay respects, yes. But like with people, every anniversary of somebody's death, we'll go to the grave site or where ashes have been sprinkled to acknowledge that they are no longer in this world. So I think there is something of that acknowledgement that being in a place where you can go, yeah, this person was close, near and dear. They are no longer close in the way they were. They are still near in one's heart. And it takes a while. It actually takes brain stuff to go on to actually get it, that they are no longer going to come in the door. And, it's been people often when they have somebody, a partner dies, where they go, I swear they're still in the house, and it is because they are so much in our minds and our brains that they are close. You just wait for the key to turn in the door or the rattle of the kettle, because that's so much part of your sewn into your brain. And I would recommend a very good book called The Grieving Brain. Note that. It's quite... wish I'd read it years and years ago. It just explains a lot of those kind of weird stuff that happens. You think, well, is the house haunted? That sort of thing. One puts the most favourite food on the altar for a memorial that you know that the person would enjoy. Circumstances were such that I wasn't able to go out and buy stuff yesterday afternoon, and I had it in mind, and somebody had suggested what I might buy, but he would like spring rolls. I don't know that. And I knew just where I was going to get those spring rolls from. And I kind of just had to let it go, see what came in the door. Because people often bring donations and offerings. Number one was a couple of packets of biscuits, and I reached for the one to make offerings with that I particularly liked. And then the other packet of biscuits I looked at, and I felt this warm feeling inside, like recognition. Oh, he'd prefer those. So I chose those, and those are up on the altar, which we will eat later, hopefully not too much later. And then a Tupperware or plastic container full of freshly made popcorn this morning. God, you can tell it's freshly made. Walked in with a person carrying it, and I went, yes. Reverend Saidō could lap up his popcorn like nobody's business. So there they were. So that's an example of, what is it an example of? I suppose trusting that something will come. Something will come. and also my letting go of my own preferences and tuning in, I suppose. Tuning in. We always have to tune in, don't we? In Christianity, it's called the still small voice, but I think I would talk about it as inner promptings, and sometimes it's visceral, and sometimes it's gone past what you want to do and what you don't want to do. You know, maybe some of you might prefer to be at home with your cats and husband and children, but no, I'm looking over somebody who has cats, husbands and children. So something draws you here, both to pay respects and to know the reality of somebody that you've known and loved and always seen here. And change is not a mistake. And some of you will come here and think, oh God, this is all changed. It doesn't feel right. And when somebody dies for quite some time, it doesn't quite feel right. And I think it's because you're so used to them being around. So feeling a bit uncomfortable about coming back here, about me not being Reverend Saidō, which I clearly am not, and doesn't feel right. Well, I think it signals something to do with how uncomfortable it is to face impermanence. Yeah, loss, all of those things. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. And we will switch the lights out and snuff out the candles and get ourselves outside. And some of us can walk down into the garden to walk around Reverend Saidō's memorial tree, give it its blessings to produce lots of apples again this year, 17 this last year, and then perhaps we can do tea and eat some of the popcorn and biscuits, although I have earmarked some for watching television tonight. And the other thought, anybody who wants to hang around, I thought we might watch something on a video that we have on our Remembering Reverend Saidō. I'm looking over at John, he's looking back at me like, what are you talking about? On our website is a drop-down tab which says Remembering Reverend Saidō. And we might, I don't know if we're going to watch you and Reverend Saidō putting the stupa together. We'll find something if people want to watch something. Okay, thank you.